Hi, this is Leanne for elementsbathandbody.com. Today we're going to do a quick demonstration of how to use our pre-made Bath Fizzy Base. This will let you make your own bath bombs, whether you choose to make them in molds, the standard bomb-sized bath fizzies, or a tablet. Before you begin, make sure you pre-assemble all the supplies you're going to need. You'll need a good sturdy bowl to mix in, a good spatula that you can kind of press and blend, your fragrance oil and your pipettes to measure, any measuring implements you'll need, mica colorants or liquid colorants, and if you choose you can also use botanicals or a little spritz of any emollient oil such as apricot kernel, jojoba, or avocado oil. Today I'm going to show you how to make a pressed bath bomb fizzy using a typical guest soap sized mold and also using a flex mold that'll make individual tablets. I've already pre-measured a little over 3 ounces of my base to enough to fill 2 cavities that are 3 ounces. Although you always want to have just a little bit more base than you think you're going to need because you're going to pack them down really tightly. And there's a reason for this. The more tightly that you pack your fizzy, the longer that it's going to effervesce in the tub. I've added my colorant already. I used 6 scoops per 3 ounces to give me a lovely pastel shade of pink. And now I'm going to add my fragrance oil. I'm just adding this by the drop. So I'm going to add about 10 drops of fragrance oil. And I'm spreading them evenly throughout the batch of base because it makes it a lot easier to blend in. The reason that I prefer a spatula over a whisk is because I can clearly see if I press down, if there are streaks in there of unmixed colorant, a little bit of oil that you want to thoroughly mix in. The next thing that we're going to do is start spritzing with witch hazel, so I'm going to put on my gloves because we're going to want to test this a little bit with our hands. This is the point where if you choose to add a little bit of botanical material in there, I'm adding a little bit of rosebud. You do that now before you start spritzing with your witch hazel. If you didn't want to use a mica colorant and you wanted to use a liquid, you want to use just 1 drop at a time. It will fizz a little bit when you put that 1 drop in. However, just quickly mix it in and it should be fine. Okay, I've put my botanicals in here and I'm ready to begin with the witch hazel. I wear gloves for this step because I want to use my hands to test for the doneness of my base. It's going to be ready to pack into the molds when it's the consistency of slightly wet sand, the same way that you'd mold a sandcastle. So you want to start spritzing with your fine mist sprayer. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Evenly dispersed throughout. Blend, blend, blend. Spritz a bit more. I usually do about 5 at a time. You don't want to hold it right down to the bottom of it, but you want to get it in there so it is going on the product. If you see that you've got a little bit of a reaction going from 1 drop, make sure you mix it right in. It should be fine. That's the reason that we use the fine mist sprayer, because it doesn't directly wet it and start off a chain reaction. At this stage, I've already put in about 10 spritzes. This is going to vary depending upon your own environment. If you live in a more humid area, you will need less. If you're in a drier area, you may need more. So we're going to spritz and test. If we squeeze it together and it doesn't really stay clumped, it's not ready. Okay, it's just about the right consistency. Holds together in your hand without falling apart too much. So you're going to want to fill your mold. Plop this in here. A little bit overflowing so that you can then press it down tightly. This is where the hand wearing the glove comes in, so that you're not using your bare hands to touch product that's going to be in someone else's skin. Tightly pack it so that you can get all the detail in this mold. We said we had just a little bit of product left over. Never let that go to waste. You can accumulate it, keep it separate if you like your colors separate, or add it together. This can be packaged loosely, so that's just another alternative to actually using the bombs. Still going to effervesce in the tub. It just disperses a little more quickly when it's packaged loosely like that than it does when it's tightly packed into a bath tablet. Okay, let's unmold. Whenever you're using more than two, I like to use a little piece of cardboard and cover it like this. One little tap and they come right out. Here's some of our finished bath tablets. These are the ones we just did, so I don't want to touch those, but you can see how pretty the addition of a few botanicals like the rosebuds make them pop. This one has some lavender buds in it. This one was using a liquid dye, and this is again the bauble mold that I explained earlier. You could put these two together and package it like this to make a nice round type bomb. You can also paint your molds on the inside with a paintbrush right here with a little bit of alcohol and mica to make it stick, and have your bombs come out with a little bit of sparkle detail just on the top. Kind of make some pop so that you see the relief of the design that's on your mold. Now you just want to let these air dry for 24 to 48 hours before you package. Just keep them in a dry, humidity-free area if possible, and then you want to package airtight so that the humidity doesn't get to them and set them off to fizzing. Now let's see what these babies can do when you plop them in the water. Watch this fizzy action go.